Hello. Hmm. Am I live? It doesn't look like I'm live. I don't see a ticker going. All right. It looks like it's working now. Hello, I am Tito, and we're here. All righty. Anyway, this is Random Chaos, the show where I randomly put out links to a group of my friends. I start whenever. I never know who's going to come. Sometimes people do, and sometimes I'm alone by myself. So I don't know how long the show will go. If I'm here alone, we'll probably just end up going for about 25, 30 minutes. And if people come in, well, we'll stay, well, an hour, maybe an hour and a half. We'll see. Any topics, fair game. If anybody's in the audience and has something they want to talk about, just put it in there in the chat window, and we'll go from there. One of the things I've been kind of excited about is seeing what's happening with the Sony Spider Verse. There's supposed to be a Morbius movie coming, and it's not real clear to me if that's going to be just Sony or is the MCU is going to be involved in that. And I do think there's a very strong possibility that Morbius will be involved. So will Venom, and I think it might cross over into the MCU. So I'm interested to see if that's going to happen. I have no idea what the release date would be yet, but I'm hoping that something like that comes along. Blade. I'm a real big fan of Wesley Snipes' Blade trilogy, and they've recast him. I can't remember the actor's name, but he was the villain in the Netflix version of Daredevil. And I'm not sure if when I look at him, I don't think of Blade. I don't know if this is going to work. But you know what? I said that when Michael Keaton was playing Batman. The first thing that hit my mind was Michael Keaton can't be Batman. Michael Keaton's a comedian. He's funny. He's not going to work as Batman, and I was oh so wrong. Even now, all these years later, when I think of everybody who's played Batman from then till now, he's still my favorite. And Jack Nicholson is still my favorite Joker. So there were some problems with that film, but I think overall they both did a wonderful job portraying their characters. The one thing that really kind of bugged me about that movie, and it's only one thing, is that there was a scene and Joker's down on the street and Batman is up in his bat plane and he's swooping in coming towards the Joker, and Joker pulls this ridiculous looking long handgun out of his pants and fires it, and it brings the plane down. um I mean, it was funny, but it was a little bit too far of a stretch, and it kind of spoiled my well, this my suspension of disbelief was just shattered at that point. But the rest of the film was great. If they had done that one scene better, I'd be quite much more happy with the whole film. But other than that, and I still, despite that, I don't think that was appropriate in that film. I still think Keaton and Jack Nicholson were the two best actors for those parts for Batman and Joker. Not taking anything away from anybody else. Heath Ledger was disturbing. His Joker was like, oh my gosh, just unhinged. I don't know how you put in that kind of a performance. It was just different. Oh, there's Rosetta, and Rosetta is backstage. So let me bring her in. Hello, Rosetta, and welcome to Random Chaos. Oh, there's Fallon. Where did Rosetta go? Oh, there she is.
She hopped in at the right time. It shifted me.
I saw somebody in there, and I thought it was you, and it was Fallon. And I was saying hello to you. I didn't realize it was her. I didn't know I had two people back here.
Yeah, I was just sitting listening.
Well, we all have those moments.
Yeah. Well, welcome to Random Chaos. I haven't done this in about 2 weeks. It's been a while.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I'm not getting to stream nearly as much as I usually do or like to.
Yeah. Well, me either. My partner's kind of been busy and been doing other streams, and so I haven't been doing that very much.
I've
been too sick to do a lot of stuff.
I've been traveling and sick and injured, and it was 2 weeks ago I was in the hit and run. So.
Oh no, I didn't know about that. I'm sorry to hear that.
In Kansas City, with Chris Knight in his car.
Oh my gosh.
So it kind of hit a couple people in our community. And then I came home, and a week after it, my husband crashed my car.
Yikes.
And I just also got back from traveling over the weekend about half an hour ago. So.
Oh, wow.
Well, it's good to have you both here, and thanks for coming in.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
I was just talking about Batman and the Joker, just for lack of anything else to talk about. Do you either of you are you either you have a favorite Batman or a favorite Joker?
Comics.
Old
comics.
1990s animated Batman TV series.
There's a good one too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
No,
I like the comics, but I'm much more in tune with the animated shows.
See, I'm very old fashioned in a lot of ways.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So I like the old novels, the early comics, the first movies in sci-fi realm, the old Star Trek, stuff like that. I have a very old world style to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. I agree. That was actually when it was better. Now it's all politics and reboot everything to death.
And even before the whole politics and reboot took over, the writing style, the personality was still changing.
That is true.
And it just, to me, doesn't have that same flair and spark that the classic literature does.
Mm-hmm. I'll agree with you on that.
And I'd be on camera, except for I'm laying in bed because my back hurts and I've been in the car driving since early AM.
Oh my gosh. Where you been driving?
I had to go neighboring state.
Sounds like you're on a train.
That's not me.
Oh no, that's me. We have a train that goes by every hour.
Basically, I had to drive about 450 miles to go be with my niece for her robotics championship for state, which she came in 5th place.
Did you say robotics?
Yes.
What is that like?
She's a very nerdy little girl.
Aw.
And her dad is an ass.
Oh, they're not doing BattleBots kind of thing, are they?
No, it's technological, mechanical engineering kind of stuff. Really, and
that goes above my head.
Yeah, it goes over mine too, but I'm still there for her. But it was great to see her. It was great to see my family. I hate the freaking city. They held it in with a passion. And I only wanted to strangle my brother about 20 times.
Yikes.
My brother being very anti-fandom and very openly in my face every time we see each other.
Oh, gosh.
Oh, he's a piece of work. this last time was really great because he waits for me to pay for everything for him and his daughter, and then berates me for having more money than him.
What? Oh my god.
Oh,
I hate
Is he
those
a
kind of people.
toxic male?
yeah. He's
Mm,
an idiot, but he's been through a lot in his life, so I cut him some slack.
ah.
And I come over here and I bitch about him because it's better than doing it to his face.
Oh yeah. I feel you. I kind of
Don't get me wrong, I love him. I'm still helping him and his daughter out because he's come out of an abusive relationship, but that doesn't mean I don't want to strangle the crap out of him every time I see him.
been there.
I can relate.
I have a little brother and little sister. I feel your pain.
Well, the sad thing is I'm actually the youngest. I'm the one taking care of everybody.
Wow.
Yeah.
The littlest sister.
Yeah. I'm so
Coming in like Superman.
So, what kind of topics you guys been
well, I
talking
could
about this
I,
week?
I could brag a little bit on something. A couple
Sure,
things,
go ahead.
actually. First of all, I've been getting a lot of support on the drawings I was doing. I've been getting a lot of support on them. Holy crap.
Good.
Including, multiple retweets of the different stuff connected to them from Jeremy, which was
Cool.
a surprise and a half. So that got a lot of attention to my page all of a sudden.
Oh wow.
So
Well,
I've
that's a
got,
good thing.
as of my last count, I now have 66 requested drawings. And I got a job on a comic where I'm going to be doing a job for a 166 page comic.
You've got 66 already backed up, and then you're putting in your group. Anybody want one?
Yes, because I'm doing it. I am doing it as a fandom thing, and it's faster just to do them together as a group, so I can actually just do all the digital parts of it because they're mixed media,
Uh-huh.
and it's
Right.
faster just to do all the digitals at once and get everything printed than to keep going back to the computer over and over and over.
Mhm.
I'd rather just get them all done now.
Right.
But no, I got a job. I can't share too much on for the details until we put up the crowdfunding, but I have to get a few pages up for him for the site for that. But yeah, I will be inking a limited edition on a 166 page comic for one of the Comics Gates guys.
Oh my
Not
God.
a big one, but one of the smaller accounts, but still, it's really cool.
Do you ever post some of your work on your Twitter?
Yeah, actually, if you go over there, you should be able to see my pinned tweet should be the one I did the other night of Darth Barbie.
All right. I'm
Okay.
gonna just jump over there.
That's the one that got all the retweets and started getting all the attention. And that was when I posted the partway one. All the retweeting started happening.
Oh, that's lovely.
Yeah, it takes a bit of work.
Oh, I'm sure.
That is completely digitally rendered through, then grayscaled and detailed, and then done with Prisma pencil.
Nice.
So it's about 4 different layers of different stuff on it by the time I'm done.
Wow.
I'm looking at this one for Barbie, and that really looks like her. You're
Mhm.
good.
Agreed.
Thank you. That one getting shared out by a few bigger accounts suddenly got a lot of attention on my page.
Oh yeah, it will.
It went up from 600 followers to over 650 in less than a day.
Mm-hmm.
So it's been kind of whirlwind the last several days since I did that. A fun one.
Sounds like
Exciting.
you've been a busy girl then.
Well, I have to make a over 3-week trip in just about 3 weeks
Mm-hmm.
because I'm in the middle of the country and medically I can't fly.
Right.
And I already have everything booked to go down to the Pensacola Convention.
Ah, okay.
And about that time I had that planned. my husband's grandmother decided that she had to have us there for her 50th wedding anniversary party in California.
Hmm. Oh, geez.
I have to drive from here to Florida, to California, up to part of California, back down across the country into Kansas City, and then home.
Where is
Ow.
home?
That's
East Iowa.
Oh my God.
yeah.
Oh my God.
We calculated everything I have to do for this trip, and it's going to be over 7,000 miles.
Yeah, and
Jeez.
that's going to cost you a penny in fuel. Where are you going to stay at the motels and what?
Actually, I've had a couple friends help me out with getting massive discounts to actually stay at resorts most of the trip.
Mhm.
That's pretty cool.
So it's actually, I'm paying less than most of the flea bags, and I'm going to be staying at places like Caesar's Palace and Flamingo and stuff like that.
Oh, that sounds great.
So I've never stayed at
At least when you get
places.
there, you'll have some comfort.
I've never really stayed at those kinds of places until when I was in Kansas City a couple weeks ago, and that's because Chris helped me get a cheap room at the one over in Kansas City that night so I could rest from being hurt. So this is a very new experience to me. I grew up gutter poor. I grew up in the poorest tribe in the nation with disabled parents. We're talking third world conditions. I'm not used to having money. So it's a different world. Maybe that's why my brother's out of his mind about it.
Maybe.
Yeah, Fallon, type something into the chat window.
In the private chat or what?
Just the regular chat.
See right here. Ta-da. Now I'm resting.
But Rosetta, have you considered setting up a commission to make money off your art?
I'm going to on some other things. The close-up pictures is something I decided I was going to do for this community a long time ago. And those at least don't have to be done as quickly as the comic.
Mm-hmm.
Except for the fact that some of them I want to get finished before I get to Pensacola and before I get to California, so I can actually just give them to the people instead of mailing them.
Right. But yeah, it's like, because I was looking to see if like you had a website where you could.
Believe it or not, the first actual true drawing like this I did in 2017.
Really?
I actually learned the techniques studying through art groups for adult coloring and stuff. Which is really interesting because this June is going to be exciting. I'm scheduled in a workshop in Idaho. I will be taking private lessons for several days under one of the top comic book artists in the world right now.
Wow.
Who does fantasy art? Hannah Lynn.
Uh,
She does fantasy, dragons, and stuff like that and I get to be one of a few people in private lessons under her for a few days in a resort on the lake.
Nifty. Oh, wow.
Yeah, when she actually invited me to it and sent me a link for a discount, I about freaked. And then I said, honey, because I've been in groups that are about her artwork and her books for a long time, because that's where I practiced how to do different skin techniques, was on the girls in her artwork. And so I would share them to groups that she's in, that she'd see what people were doing with what she does. And a few times over on Facebook, she shared and posted and featured some of the ones I did. And then she sent me the invite for the workshop. And then I got all squealy because she's one of my favorite artists.
Don't blame you on that.
Because she's one of my favorite freaking artists, and I get to go learn under her. Freaking big deal.
Oh yeah, it would be a big deal for anyone.
But it's so I get to do that, and it's not far from Yellowstone.
Oh,
And I do nature photography.
that sounds nice.
It's like my painting and drawings and my photography is most all I do.
Hmm.
And this summer is really going to be intense for that. So is this trip, actually, going down that much of the. I've never been to the South, and I've never.
You're
I've
going to
only
see a
seen
lot of the country.
I've never been to the South. I've never seen. I've seen oceanic water once in my life.
Where did you see it?
Way up in Washington State.
Oh, that's where I am.
My husband grew up. My husband grew up when he was little out on Orcas Island.
Oh, okay. He's a little bit further north than I am. I'm down by Mount Rainier.
So he took me up through parts of Washington and stuff when I turned 30.
Yeah, if I
And
stand
took
in
me
my
out to the water.
backyard and look over the fence, I can see the mountain.
I grew up in the Black Hills. So I grew up in mountains.
Is that South Dakota?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I think Phelan is a Texas girl.
I am. I live about maybe 1.5 to 2 hours away from Dallas.
I'll be going through Texas in the beginning of March.
I'm
I
actually gonna,
calculated this trip, and I'm going to see about 12, 13 states I've never seen before and go to over 18 states for this drive.
Here, I finally got Phelan to write something in the comments.
yeah, I didn't realize I was under a different.
One of my other accounts because I like to do a lot of gaming. I was like,
Yeah.
I might as well just have a gaming channel, and that's all my gaming live streams because I love doing it.
Yeah, and most of my live streams are just me sitting there working on paintings and art and BSing while I show off my photos.
Well, I've just given you both a wrench, so you'll have
Aww.
you got your blue wrench.
Oh, I
My
collect
first
those.
one.
That's why I was trying to get you to put something
Your
in
first
the comment
one?
section.
My first one. Nobody's had me moderate on theirs yet.
I actually have a lot of wrenches.
Aw,
Here's the funny one. I actually have a wrench for Jessie Milestone.
Really?
there you
That's
go.
pretty awesome.
She's such a sweetheart. Holy crap. Ever since I talked to her
Yes.
when she did the interview with Mega Jetty in September, and he got me on to talk to her too. And me and her have talked ever since. She's had me on her a couple times with her.
Mm-hmm.
She's just sweet, but we keep talking. We need to meet. We need to talk to each other in person and stuff. And she kept trying to convince me I need to just come out to Cali. And I'm like, I have no intention of going to California. Was all I kept saying. So the other day when my husband's grandmother, bless her heart, convinced us we have to do this for her, I sent her one message that said, well, looks like I'll be in California in March. And when she signed on a couple days later, all I got back was a whole bunch of exclamation points with yes! Like, I win, right?
You have gotten Boardwalk. I'm sorry, I played a lot of Monopoly. My family hates it.
Yeah. When I woke
What
up
did it-
this morning, I never dreamed I'd be popping Fallon's cherry.
Oh Lord.
I'm your first, you said.
I've gotten a lot of people to stream or collect wrenches and stuff from me who've never done it before. I was the one who got Hunky Chunky to come on the camera. Of course, he comes on with a freaking monkey mask on.
I know Rosetta, she's one of my mods. Since that whole situation where people sending me all the sexual harassment messages that
and
one
I try
Sunday.
to stop by when I see you actually are on.
Okay, I try to put up a bunch of messages. I'm going to be on at this time. Da-da-da.
If you ever want to make sure that I'm there, just message me directly because I do miss a lot of other stuff.
All right.
So if you can't find someone else to mod, just let me know.
Okay.
And if I'm around, I'll help.
Right.
But it's like, so I have to get a whole bunch of stuff done in the next 3 weeks,
Mm-hmm.
including finishing the itinerary for this trip. The only time I'm going to be with my husband is a few days when we're in Cali when he flies in, because he doesn't have enough vacation days if we're going to do the other trip in summer. So I have to do most of this drive on my own with all my medical issues.
So how soon are you leaving?
I have to leave on the 26th to get down for Pensacola.
Oh, so you got a couple of weeks yet.
Yeah, it's got about 3 weeks to do a lot of stuff around this house,
Yeah.
including a lot of the drawings and artwork that I have to get done before then. And I'm making sure all the rest of it is digitally edited, ready, printed, boxed with my art supplies into something to take with me to work on in the hotels.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So you're going to be traveling, and you said you had some medical issues.
Yeah, a lot.
I don't know about those. I knew you had some, but I don't know what they are.
Oh, there's a lot of them. The biggest one that worries me is that since I do have post-traumatic issues in crowds, chemical sensitivities, and twitches from scars from seizures that are not always controllable,
Mm.
I don't like being alone in crowds very often.
Mhm.
The fun part was this weekend was alone
Yeah.
because my husband, I had to leave in the morning when he was going to work to be
Do
there
you
for my
have some
niece.
medication to help with the seizures?
Well, I don't actually have the seizures anymore.
Well,
That
that's
part
good.
healed, but what I have is a whole bunch of scars in my brain tissue from how severe they were,
Mm.
which can cause me to disorient sometimes.
Yeah.
It can cause me to suddenly not be able to hear who's talking around me. It does nothing that it causes affects me when I'm driving. It's my interaction with other people
Mhm.
because it affects my ability to speak and hear them,
Hmm.
but it doesn't affect my hand-eye coordination or vision.
Yeah.
But when you're in a crowd and your face is twitching and you're stuttering, people will freak.
Mm.
So I'm a little nervous doing this. And Kansas City was the first time I'd ever traveled without anybody in my life. So,
Well,
that
I can
was 2
imagine
weeks
that's
ago.
a lot of driving on your own.
And I
So,
just did this weekend on my
yeah.
own, which was a little bit further than the last trip. But I'm very nervous about this.
Right.
I'm glad he'll be there when I'm in Cali to do the driving in the more intense, crowded areas. But this whole thing's a little crazy to me.
Are there any friends you can take with you during the trip to help?
Mm-mm. There's nobody I could sucker for that long. Nobody. It's like I know medically what to do when these things flare. I know all that. It makes me nervous.
Well, make sure you keep your cell phone charged.
Oh, that I do. I have the greatest little computer system for my car that I can hook all kinds of different cords to.
Uh-huh.
The reason I call this the greatest is because it's a freaking warp core that actually pulsates.
Oh my god. Now I'm just flashing back to Star Trek Next Generation.
That's the one.
I haven't watched Next Generation forever.
I'm a nerd. What can I tell you?
It's awesome. But
Oh boy.
you're surrounded by nerds, so it's okay.
Like I said, I like Star Trek. That is what Star Trek was, not what they've turned it into.
I feel you, but on Star Wars.
Oh, I feel it there too, but I'm more Star Trek. I did get blocked by JJ.
Oh.
By the way, are we allowed to swear here?
I don't mind. I don't.
Okay, I was trying to check before I just say my mind. Well, it comes down to
Well, I'm
remember
not
when
going to lose anything because I'm not monetized. So
do you remember when he did that interview and he did take some cracks at fandom when he mentioned it,
yeah, I
including
do.
making a crack that it's not just Star Wars that they're doing this with.
Yeah.
And I tweeted at him saying, "You're right. You also fucked up Star Trek for us too, didn't you?"
Hmm.
Oh, shots
I was
fired.
blocked within a minute.
I bet. They don't like critiques.
It was true. Hey, look, I can do his special effects. You want to know how easy that is?
Oh no,
Look,
not
I'm
the
JJ.
flare.
I'm JJ. Look it, I'm JJ. Ah! Which works better in a dark room, but still.
Yeah.
JJ. Ah!
You got it right there. There's the lens flare.
I didn't mind like the first movie of the reboot series that they did, but it was afterwards. It was.
This was my opinion of it. You know, if you took out his horrible special effects, and let's face it, they're horrible. Take that out, and you take out them trying to make it part of something that was cerebral and intellectual, and just make it a popcorn sci-fi flick without any ties to Star Trek, it would have been okay. It's what they did for special effects and what they tried to tie it to while making it so immature that made it so bad.
Right.
Fallon, are you watching the Picard series at all?
I haven't watched the first episode, but from what my dad said, he said it was so bad. He actually wished that it was Star Trek Discovery season 1.
Yeah, I don't know if I think that it's terrible.
Worse.
I've watched the first 2, and the thing that strikes me is that, well, as Rosetta pointed out, the darkness and the lens flares. I don't like that.
And it's not intellectual anymore. They don't even know what freaking protons and stuff are. How you're cloning somebody off of literally a circuit in the computer.
Yeah.
It's like, what the
there's a lot of things that
my brain hurts now.
Don't make sense.
You hear that theory, and all you can hear is Mikey Spock going, "I like science." Because it's somebody who doesn't have
they even got one of the Romulans that looks like a dead ringer for Spock. He's a Romulan with a beard. He looks just like Spock in
so he
Discovery.
came from the Mirror Universe.
No,
because that's what I always think.
No, he's a Romulan. He's not a Vulcan.
True.
Yeah,
but that's what I always think when people say Spock with a beard. I think of the Mirror Universe from the.
I gotta show you something. One sec. I gotta show you
the original series.
Yeah.
You just brought out a nerd moment. Nerd moment.
Oh, that's awesome.
Signed framework from that episode.
That is absolutely beautiful.
Nine. I love Mirror, by the way.
Is this your work?
No. This is actual stills from the company signed.
Oh, okay.
That I got down at Riverside during Trek Fest.
Oh, cool.
That's pretty cool.
Eric Green is in the audience. Hello, Eric.
Eric.
Hello.
Rosetta, this is Eric. He's one of our buddies. This is Rosetta. Eric, say hello.
I don't bite unless you're my husband or an idiot troll. And those are different kinds of bites.
Oh, gosh. You know what I have to say? The one thing I do like about what YouTube has done is the pop-out chat.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, you can just click that, and then you can have the chat open and you don't have the video playing.
Cool.
It makes it easier on me when I do StreamYard with a crappy computer.
Yeah.
Still doesn't work for crap on this laptop. Of course, this is an old laptop that's so broken you can't actually close it.
Oh, Lord.
My good laptop's in the other room. It had to go with me on the trip, and I haven't brought it in yet.
Oh, okay.
And my computer's over there, but I'm so tired from driving, I can't sit in that seat.
I don't blame you. I actually shocked Christy when I said I've never actually gone to any form of Comic-Con. I was like, I want to go to the one that's in March.
I've never been to an actual Comic-Con. Trek Fest is the only thing I've been to at all, and it's a tiny little town.
Ah, okay.
I've actually not been to a Comic-Con, but when they had a Star Trek thing in Seattle, I went there and I got to meet Jimmy Doohan before he passed. That was kind of nice. Yeah.
The one I'm wanting to go, I think it's called the Fan Expo in Dallas.
Mm-hmm.
Dean Cain's going to be there. The cast from Saved by the Bell, the CW Arrow cast. There's a bunch of stuff that's going to be going on. I really do want to go to it. May end up doing like a fundraiser for it because That's not cheap.
Oh yeah, and that's one of my other wrenches.
Which one is that?
Midnight's Edge After Dark.
Oh, okay. I occasionally try
Tom.
to check those.
Tom is the biggest sweetheart. He's just a
Oh,
big
Tom's
cuddly
really
teddy
nice.
bear.
I've met him a little bit, not a ton, but he's been a really nice person to me.
I've interacted with him a lot, and I've met him in person.
I
Oh,
like
wow.
to watch him on those shenanigans
He was the first
shows
person
that
from
Mary
the
does.
community I met in person actually a few weeks ago.
Is that right?
That's cool.
Yeah, I think he's cool.
And then I met Chris, and then we were in the accident.
Oh.
This was only a few days apart.
Oh my gosh.
I started here. I went up into Wisconsin on a one-day trip, met up with Tom and had lunch with him and stuff, and came back.
Mm-hmm.
And then took one day off and then headed towards Kansas City.
I don't think I've actually met anyone in person. I know me and Christy want to eventually do it, but she's like in a I think she's about 4 hours away from where I am.
Oh, Texas is a big state.
It is. Where I live now, it would take me 9 hours to get to Lubbock. And that's on the other
That's
side of the state.
definitely a stayover trip then.
Oh, yes. Definitely is. I have a lot of family in Lubbock, so.
Well, there you go. That'd work. So are any of you guys planning on seeing Birds of Prey?
No.
No?
I
Nobody
almost
impressed
was-
with the trailers or anything?
Not impressed with the trailers and pretty much lost almost all desire to watch anything anyways in a long time.
Yeah.
they almost got me on the second one, but then they started putting out the clips, and it was like, no.
Yeah, I haven't
But
been excited about the
hairband!
trailer.
Holy crap, hairband.
I would rather sit through The Last Jedi again.
Oh.
And I hate that movie.
Oh.
That should give you an idea of how much I don't want to see it.
Here's the thing. I can't watch the last movie because they put all the freaking bright lights and seizure warnings on it. So,
Mm-hmm.
but both times with the Disney movies, I didn't pay for them. I had somebody give me the discs.
Mm-hmm.
With The Force Awakens, they gave it to me, and I watched it and went, well, that was entirely boring and repetitive and just a copy of the old movie. Well, that was dumb.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't, I hate it. It's not Star Wars. That was dumb. There's no point. There's nothing really new. And his lightsaber is moronic and has no sense logically in sword fighting or fencing. And that bothers me. I am a big time fencing and sword fighting girl. So
I can understand that.
that bothers me so much that you would have weapon on the hilt like that. Because it would cut your hand off.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
you'd have to have your hand lower or much lower, wouldn't you?
Because the reason a hilt is designed is because the swords that use a hilt, your hand presses against the hilt.
That's right. It's the guard.
Yeah.
So having those, they say, well, there's a little bit beyond that. No, there's about that much of something there. And then that, your fingers would hit it.
Mm-hmm.
If you know anything about sword fighting. And so that instantly takes me out of the moment and I start laughing every time I see that thing.
I
So do
don't
we all
blame you.
agree that the films have been just crap?
Yes.
Yes.
But so I wasn't excited for it. I didn't like it. I thought the sword was stupid, but I was like, okay, well, whatever. Maybe they'll get a little better next time.
Yeah. For me, the first film was
But what?
it wasn't really great, but it is like at the time that I saw that, I thought, well, maybe this could be good. Maybe the next, two films will be great.
It gave you a slight sense of, well, at least they want to try to get something out of
Well, I had just
Star
seen
Wars.
what was the one with K2SO in it? That was a Star Wars story or something.
Here, let me finish this a sec because I get ditzy really easy. So I left that one going, okay, well, I don't know. I didn't do anything with the disc. I set it aside and kind of forgot. And time passed, and the last one came out, and the ads did not excite me. I was not looking forward to the idea, but somebody gave it to me. I'm like, well, I'll be fair. I'll give it a chance. I was a little tired that night, but all I remember is going, this is stupid. This is stupid. Literally, the only moment that at all gives you any joy is watching the Porg yell at Chewie. So you get 3 seconds of joy out of a movie. What?
Also, let
And
me interrupt real
the
quick.
Okay.
The K2SO was Rogue One.
Okay. And so I
Yeah,
got more and
Rogue
more and
One.
more and more and more. The more my brain thought about what I saw over the next few days, the more different scenes offended me, not just made me irritated.
Right.
I do not have either disc anymore. Do you want to know what I did with them?
Trashed.
Acid bath. Wiped the data and turned them into sun catchers.
Woo-hoo. That's serious.
She is that offended.
Yeah. So anyway, I'd seen Road Wong, and I kind of liked that film, and I had hopes for the Force Awakens, and after the film was like, well, it wasn't as good as I was hoping it was, but it wasn't terrible, but then the next two films just got worse and worse. But I do like the TV stuff. What do you guys think of The Mandalorian?
I like it.
I won't watch it because I hate
Yeah.
Disney.
I'm
one of the
not
most
real
cynical
happy with
people.
Disney either.
No. I've hated Disney since long before Star Wars, and I'm one of the most cynical people in fandom.
Well, you've got reason. I mean, Disney is like super, super greedy these days.
There are so many reasons I hate them, and it actually goes back in my childhood to their horrific, inaccurate portrayal of natives, but that's another rant.
Yeah.
Oh, Pocahontas.
No, that was in my teen years. It goes back even further than that, actually. But yeah. And then I tried to give him a chance. And I was getting into Once Upon a Time. I liked the first season.
Mm-hmm.
I thought a couple of the other seasons were okay.
Mm-hmm.
They had some political wokeness, but they also had some places that, defended there's a life in the womb and stuff like that. So it seemed okay. Then they hit Dark Swan.
I think I
and
stopped
they
watching before
portrayed
then. Mhm.
they portrayed Dreamcatchers as satanic black magic.
I can see why you would be angry.
Now, to reiterate, I don't care how pale I am card-carrying Oglala Lakota Sioux. My dad is native. Guess what culture I was raised in?
Sue.
Disney. Yeah. My taste towards Disney is not very good. But no, Pocahontas, I was already hitting my teen years then. I am 36.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Miss, yes, got fucking tackled by Disney. It was good the first few seasons, and then Disney started getting more involved with it and less with the original writers.
Mm-hmm.
That was it. It came all their political stunts, all that. When they started portraying King Arthur and actual historical characters incorrectly, I started, fuck you.
I heard about that one. And then they changed the entire story with Merlin, and
that was all part of the whole time with Dark Swan too. That was
that is
season.
right. Yeah.
They went completely off the rails. They started attacking historical people. They started attacking different mythologies and cultures. And season 2 had issues. Season 3 had issues, but they were still tolerable.
Mm-hmm.
But they got really bad really fast. And then the last season, they just went completely off the rails, completely wiped the original cast out of it, other than a couple people, and race swapped a whole bunch of characters and created new ones.
Yep.
And then they had to make Alice gay and all this other shit. Just like they had to make Dorothy gay because
And Ruby.
that pissed me off because they'd already established her as boy crazy. It's not even that, because the character they took her from didn't have an actual sexuality. It was only as a child. So if they'd used her for the character and had it gay, but that'd been how it started, I wouldn't have cared.
Mm-hmm.
But they had set her a certain way as a character, and then suddenly she's in love with a woman enough that she'll wake up to the woman's kiss like true love just because the woman likes her. That's not how sexuality works. That's an insult to people who actually are gay.
Right.
You don't just flip on and off just because somebody likes you.
Mm-hmm.
So that was completely ridiculous. And that's what killed me. I actually really liked what the show was at the beginning.
Mm-hmm. Same.
And I hated what they turned it into. I actually made fan art jewelry from the freaking early seasons.
Really?
Including hand carving little poly bead apples and stuff for it.
Hi.
Hey, Miss
Hello.
Honey.
Talk
Welcome,
about
Miss.
time so that I can talk about.
What'd she say?
I said I can talk about Once Upon a Time.
Yeah,
You can.
That was one of my shows.
Definitely one of my shows. Something I don't even remember how I found it.
I stumbled into it on the first night it was debuting. It was like 5 minutes into the episode.
When
I actually found it on watching a reactor. I think his name is Torchwood Boy.
Hmm.
That's how I found a bunch of shows.
I think it was the time when I first gotten a laptop and I found this totally illegal website with shows on it. And there was 2 seasons of it, and I binge watched those seasons. There was definitely, like, the first time I watched it, I think I was a bit I was young, so I was a bit blind to the Disney thing about it. And then the second time I watched it, there's a scene, I can't remember where it is, but I know it's in the second season, where they're in like a park and Emma's walking with Henry, and there's a kid holding a little Mickey Mouse stuffy. And it's like,
Product placement.
Yeah, it's very much like Disney was like, $signs, it's time to step in on this.
Oh yeah.
I think
Absolutely.
it definitely started going downhill when they included Elsa and the
Mhm.
whole Frozen shit in there. Definitely.
They didn't do it well.
They didn't do it well at all. I thought they were
They
going to go for
would
the
have.
fairy tale stuff.
Mm-hmm.
The season 1 and season 2 definitely was sort of, that seemed like they were going for Grimm's fairy tales and not specifically Disney's rehashings of them, but Disney quickly said no to that shit.
Yeah, I
Right.
noticed they actually did change some of the storyline on Snow. About season 3, they started wiping out a lot of the darker stuff that was in the early seasons.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
There's, and the thing is that didn't bother me that much about it was that when I was in elementary school, my teacher was showing us Cinderella books, and she had over 10 different books that rehashed the story of Cinderella in different ways. So all those fairy tales have been retold by different authors over and over again to teach different lessons or to show a different style of telling the story. So not a big deal to change the fairy tale as long as it sort of has some of the similar original points to it. And
Yeah, the issue I get is when they completely destroy the original moral completely, which they did with The Little Mermaid, because in the original story it was about accepting what you have and not trying to take more. And they actually, in the original story they based the first book on, in the mythology they based it on, Ariel died.
yeah,
Mhm.
Ariel
She was
commits
run through the heart by her dad's trident after Ursula mutilated him.
suicide. There's another story where
How?
she commits suicide.
That was another adaptation in the early ages.
Yeah, I
that's
remember
one of the
this
things
being
that's
online.
bothered me about Disney for a long time, is that they have a very long history of using public domain books to base their movies off of. And that wasn't a big, deal for many years.
Well,
But
like,
over the last decade or so, they've gotten to where they kind of act like they own those stories when in
Mhm.
fact they do not. They're
Well,
public domain.
another thing is about the Little Mermaid. The Disney version is it takes place in the Caribbean in the Disney version, but the actual story, I believe, is Dutch.
Yes, it's Dutch, and it's connected to stories that originated in Scandinavia.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So it didn't belong there anyways, and there was issues with that. But the other thing that gets me is, okay, let's look at some of these stories clearly. First of all, Snow White was 14 in the original story,
Mhm.
and there were multiple things that she was put through before the apple,
But you could
the laces and other stuff.
you could equate that to the life expectancy of people being very low back then.
Mm-hmm. But so they kind of whitewashed some of that.
Mm-hmm.
But Snow White wasn't whitewashed as bad as Sleeping Beauty. Because in the very first version of that story, The Myth Before Grimm, she was woken up by the prince after the 100 years that Maleficent foresaw, and then he died in front of her.
Mm-hmm.
Really? I don't think I've heard that one.
There's another story where the prince rapes her when she's in her.
Yeah, she has 2 children.
Mhm.
The suck the whatever out of her finger.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I knew about that one. I just didn't know about him
There's
dying.
a
in front of
different
her.
fairy
The
tales.
original one, he aged the whole time. He could never get inside the palace because of how it was sealed, and literally he woke her up to die in front of her.
That is the worst ending ever.
That's dark. I like dark stuff, so I'm like, woo, that sounds cool. Actually,
She's like, actually, I want to see a movie of that.
yeah, I want to see that. Give me that. But Once Upon a Time, I think is tolerable. I can't speak in comparison to what is coming out more recently with the woke stuff. It got woke slowly, but I liked the ending.
I don't know. I couldn't get to the ending. I couldn't get over what they did to my culture.
Which
I think is, again, that's for me because I have ties to what they really trashed there. They took us.
Yeah.
With the Dark Swan, they literally took a symbol that's supposed to be your connection to the Great Spirit, God, and love, and they turned it into satanic black magic. That's, to me, kind of unforgivable culturally.
I didn't see it that way personally, but I'm not 100% sure on that. I just saw that it was something that she did, like Rumpelstiltskin's thing.
There was a comment from Regina that said directly that this is evil dark magic.
What she was doing was evil dark magic.
No, that when she pulled up the Dreamcatcher, she said directly, "Those are evil dark magic."
I don't think she meant the symbol of the Dreamcatcher though.
But I don't like how they did it at all. That one really, really got to me in a lot of ways.
I think people because the reason that she used Dreamcatchers was because of the Dreamcatcher that was given to her by Henry's father. That's why she used Dreamcatchers.
But, and I've heard the different theories. I can't stand how they did it and what they did to me.
Mm-hmm. But I'm just saying that Dreamcatchers had a personal meaning to her specifically, and that's why she created them. They weren't used specifically to mean dark magic. They were just a symbol that meant a lot to her, and she used them as a conduit for dark magic at the time.
That's what chased me out of that show, honestly.
Hey, Teresa.
Hello.
Teresa,
Hey,
hello.
Teresa, darling.
Hello.
Great to see you all. You're talking Once Upon a Time.
Yes.
Gosh, that show
Probably should remove the stormtrooper.
That show was, that was part of my life far more than it should have been for better part of 7 years. I ran the website in the fan account, the Once Upon a Fan, and so I got to talk to a lot of the writers and interviewed them, and
oh wow,
that's awesome.
So it was like so when I heard that, I was like, wait a second, I know this stuff. I know all this.
Like I said, it was a show I really loved. I really loved Rumple. I really loved the whole Deary mocking people. Why do you say Deary? I did too. So many people.
Yeah, and oh my gosh, Robert Carlyle.
Robert Carlyle has been too good for most of the roles he plays, actually.
Yeah,
because he ends up in these movies and shows that are mediocre at best, but he's the shining moment in them.
Yeah,
Right.
Oh, he was an amazing actor, and he is the nice. I mean, he is for real. He is the nicest, most. He's completely genuine as a person, and I can't say good enough things about that man. He's just the real deal.
See, I'm one of the ones I actually think that they didn't start it well, and I actually think that Stargate Universe didn't get fair enough shake because they didn't start the first episodes very well.
No.
And he could have done a lot better with the show if he'd had more time with it.
Yeah. Well, Robert Carlyle is one of those that it doesn't matter what he's given. He will just elevate it.
He'll pour his heart into it, even if other people around him aren't working that hard.
Yeah. But, you know, the actors really did work pretty hard. There were some issues with some writing and that happened, particularly after season 3.
Yeah.
We always pinpointed that the moment that everything went to hell in a handbasket on that show was the season finale of season 3, when they took their total new direction and brought in Frozen.
Yeah, that pissed me off.
Yeah, well, what was going on was that is really where Disney and ABC really started to
have too much control.
The Snow Queen is actually a real fairy tale.
Yes, it is. It's Nordic.
Yeah.
Yes, and that was interesting. I looked up that fairy tale and I adore it. But
mythology, history, fairy tales, all that. That is my thing more than sci-fi. I am very much a mythology girl.
Yeah, I ran the section on origins on our thing, and I did like a 15-page essay over the summer between that, and that was when we still thought they were going to like do some really good things with the plot, the Frozen plot. But what happened was they started to have the show be more like an infomercial and a testing ground for their live action. And so they would have, that's why they would, it's like, oh, let's bring in Frozen for a bit. Okay, we're going to bring in Hades. Okay, we're going to bring in the Queens of Darkness.
Yeah,
and
I do have to point one thing out. I find this funny that I mentioned the show briefly, just saying it like how they handle Dreamcatchers, and the whole channel's been overtaken by the women talking about Once Upon a Time now.
I mean, Once Upon a Time is a very, very good example of a show that was absolutely magnificent, and for some more reasons than I can enumerate, self-destructed.
Yeah,
I still consider the end of season 6 before they completely revamped and relaunched it the end to me.
Oh, for sure. I
didn't like how they relaunched everything.
Yeah,
I have not watched the very last season, and I tried to watch it, and I couldn't. I couldn't.
Yeah, that's how I tried a couple times. I tried to watch a couple episodes, and all I thought was, "This is shit. This isn't Once."
No, well, it had.
See, I have to say, as much as I was mad at them during the last couple seasons, I loved when they did the musical one. They actually did it really well, especially with her singing about the bitch being back.
Yeah,
they did it gorgeously, especially Regina's temper.
Yeah, well, they made so many mistakes.
When they brought in Jekyll and Hyde, that was also
they got so much success from having Ruby be her own wolf. They started just trying to flip every good guy into the villain, and it didn't work for most of them.
Yeah, right.
Well, yeah, and
it got very formulaic too. You could see it coming.
Yeah, well, and it was the ultimate situation of subverting expectations.
Yeah,
that was very much the element of the surprise.
But it worked with Ruby. It worked then.
Oh, it did. Oh, yeah.
It did not work later because they were trying too much to recreate Ruby.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. It was cool. It was really neat. It was really novel. But then the surprise became the plot. And when Adam Horowitz, by the way, I can't say he's also a really good guy, but he would it's like, oh, there's going to be a surprise, and it's like, do we want a surprise though, or do we want a good story?
Good story.
Yeah, good story, and it was really really cool with the whole Ruby reveal, and the way that Rumpelstiltskin was everybody. I mean, he was the Beast. Oh my gosh, and of course Skin Deep. What Skin Deep did, Robert Carlyle told us that it was the best 42 minutes of television he'd ever done. And it elevate and it is when you his such a tour de force when he became the Beast in that episode. It changed everything.
Mm-hmm.
And
it was very good the way they did. See, I loved the early seasons. I loved even parts of some of the later ones, taking out the part that pissed me off, of course.
Oh, well, yeah, there's
several parts in the later seasons that pissed me off, but there was some real good in them too still. Until season 7, but season 7 doesn't count. It's like Disney Star Wars. It doesn't fucking count.
Well, except for there were bits and pieces of season 7, just like some of the stuff that happened in season 4. Well, the episode Beauty with Belle.
I don't like how they ended that one, actually, because they ended it with him still trapped and fighting it. That just didn't make sense to me.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, they retconned that, but at least I thought that it was a very beautiful way that they had.
They had the emotional moments well. They did that well, but to me, the story itself really flew in the face of everything they'd worked so hard for the entire show.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's when the show started to fall apart. For crying out loud, the whole plot with Regina and Robin Hood, the second chance, after they both lost their first love, and then what they do. Oh, never mind. Let's just kill Robin randomly.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm still annoyed by that.
Oh, I'll never get over that. And the show never recovered after that. That was it.
Regina was always my favorite character in the entire
I loved
series.
Regina. And
her
loved
redemption.
Regina.
Yeah. And the
Regina and Rumple were my favorites. They always were.
Yeah.
I love the bad guys.
Yeah. And their relationship, their mentor, father-daughter relationship was really cool. And that's, well, we don't
they kind of had a romantic relationship in there.
Well, no, they kind of retconned that in season 6. That's when all of a sudden they randomly started making it romantic, and the actors hated it.
Oh, I bet.
Well, because they had actually even said that because when you talk with them, it's like that they were playing it like a father-daughter relationship, and Robert Carlyle fought them like hell over that plot. I mean, he was public about it. He didn't even keep it private.
One of the things that bugged me is they started throwing things in just to advertise. Like right after they purchased LucasArts, suddenly they made a Star Wars reference.
Oh yeah, it became an.
It's like, what in the fuck? It doesn't even fit the show. What are you doing? You're just doing this so you can advertise your other shit.
Yeah, yeah.
You're talking about the Chewbacca thing?
No. When they went into the alternate dimension, she made a reference to, I can't remember the exact now. It was a Star Wars reference that she made to
it was the fake Wookiee thing. They kept referencing the
they did tons of those. And when they went back to the past and they're Back to the Future episode, and they did she was Princess Leia.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
That was the one I was referencing. It's also, I actually really did like the miniseries they did, and then they retconned half of that story and completely threw it away when they did the characters later in the show. Oh yeah, I liked how they did Once Upon a Time in Wonderland.
Oh yeah,
I really liked
that. That was fucking amazing.
And then they threw half of that story and half of those characters away and retconned it into different people in the Once Upon a Time in about 2 seasons later. And it's like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
You had a perfect storyline for that world. Don't fuck with it. Use a different place.
Yeah, well, they tried to forget, actually, that Wonderland ever happened. And
the thing is, it was always scheduled to be a miniseries. It actually had really good reviews and support.
Yeah. And
but then they didn't want to continue it.
Yeah, well, what happened, it was supposed to air season 3. It was supposed to air in the hiatus between Once Upon a Time in the same time slot. It was supposed to be a miniseries. And at the last minute, whoever was in charge of Disney at the time decided to try to turn it into a series and do it simultaneously, and it destroyed everything.
It still was a good miniseries.
Oh, it was amazing.
They just should have considered it a part of the canon that had to be done separately and just left it alone and kept it in the storyline and not screwed with the characters.
Well, absolutely. Well, and the whole story with Anastasia and Will was one of the
Gorgeous.
best. Was one of the best.
Fucking gorgeous.
Well, romances. I mean, we were almost crying when they kissed and all that, and but it was very annoying because they kept trying to make us try to forget that it ever happened, but we just kept bringing it up. It's like, well, this wouldn't happen because Will or Anastasia, and so we were very obnoxious. Oh, hi, Phelan Rao. Yeah, I agree. Yeah. Oh gosh. Well, it's fun. We still have our account up. That's what's so funny. But it was some really, really good times. The time with ones I traveled and covered a lot of the conventions over there. The actors, they were genuinely cool.
Oh yeah,
people.
especially Snow and the Prince, and they actually did really fall in love doing that part together and all that.
Yes.
To the point where they had to change the story to write in her wanting to have kids because she was pregnant because they'd gotten married already.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they told it. And I'll tell you the whole "I Will Always Find You" and the charming family.
That was
in the
beautiful.
center. Yes, it was amazing stuff. And Josh Dallas, he's always polite no matter what. He always reminded me of like Dick Clark. He knows things. He's always just so polite, never goes off or anything. And we have some really cool. I don't know if you followed along with the cosplayer Tom in Paris, who looks just like Hook, and the actor he and Colin O'Donoghue, when we were in Paris, they like switched clothes. They like played dress up with each other. It was it was amazing, and yeah, and Colin is as hot. Oh yeah.
No, Colin is a piece of man candy. Period.
Oh yeah, you would enter a room with him, and literally the heat in the room would like explode. I'd never had that happen to me before, and I was too young for menopause.
Look, it's the same reason women watch Momoa. It's the same reason that women watch a lot of these things. Look, we're just as bad as the men. We want a piece of man candy to look at, ogle, and go, "Can't I grope it?"
Yeah. Yeah, well, yeah, that too. I'm sorry, I'm talking my head off. Well, I want to pause here and say hello, Tito and Phelan Reacts, and oh my gosh, finally, Miss.
Hey,
We're like talking to each other.
Well, Teresa, I'm glad you came in because I've been wanting you to come in on one of my streams for a while now.
Oh, really? Okay, well, there we are. I just happened to.
It worked out today. Great.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, I could talk about Once Upon a Time for eternity.
Oh, can't you tell I can bounce right back off with you?
I do want to say I still
Did
kind of
y'all
like it.
actually, since we're talking about Once Upon a Time here, about how the original premise was that Charming was supposed to die and that it was going to be about Well and Ruby, their love story.
Which one in Ruby now?
Frankenstein, Dr. Frankenstein, who's Dr. Well.
Yes, Frankenwhale or whatever. And that was going to be sweet. That the episode 212, they started to kind of connect, and everyone's like, "This is going to be so freaking amazing," and then they just dropped it like a stone, like a rock.
Right. Like most of the stories.
Yeah, the good stories. They did though follow through. One thing that they did deliver on though was the whole Balefire thing, and when Manhattan happened, that was one of the best payoffs ever. That the reunion between him and Rumpelstiltskin, him and Emma, and him and Henry.
Mm-hmm.
And I just won't go into the fact that they then killed.
Okay, did they ever explain what happened to Jefferson? Because I don't remember. They did that story at the first of season 2, and then nothing.
He found his daughter.
That I did know, but after he found his daughter, we didn't hear of him.
No, he went off to become the Winter Soldier. well, well, I mean, he had a happy ever after. Well, we had an ongoing joke where there was a cul-de-sac where all the characters went that you never saw, and they were all actually having fun and living happy lives. And it's just the reason why they were never on screen was because they were staying far away from the Charmings and Rumpelstiltskin and Emma because they were always causing disaster. So him and Jefferson and his daughter Grace are living happily ever after in the cul-de-sac away from all those walking disasters. Especially Emma. Emma was supposed to bring back the happy endings, and all she did was start destroying everybody's lives.
So she was the equivalent of what Regina wanted.
Yes. Oh, that's an interesting thing. There's a twist for you now. She
I
was
hated
really the
how,
villain of Once Upon a Time.
I didn't really like how the tone changed.
Mm-hmm.
Like they kind of had this weird thing where they'd switch from dark to Disney, to Disney, and it was annoying because I either wanted them go dark with it or do the lovey-dovey hope. There's always hope thing. Like they couldn't decide whether they were going to go dark with it or not. And bringing in Jekyll and Hyde was a real big fuck you to me. Because it was like, look at these dark characters that we're going to bring in here, but then we're going to be all about hope and sunshine and rainbows, and completely ruin the interesting parts of those characters that makes them dark. And it's just...
Well, yeah, the whole Jekyll and Hyde, the whole problem with that plot was it ended. It was starting to get good. And then you're like, oh, oops, they're dead.
They died.
They should have brought more of that time period type Victorian literature. Mary Riley.
Yes.
They should have brought in all those dark stories.
Yes. Well, and they did the thing with Frankenstein, and they didn't go too deep into. I'm trying to think of any other literary characters that they did. Not really, besides Jekyll and Hyde. And that was also the season where I started to black everything out because it was starting to get depressing. I mean, it was just like it just got too sad or too much despair. And
is it just me, or is everything on television these days going to that darkness that you don't see the happy stuff anymore? And then it's not just Disney, but everything.
No, but here, the thing I mean about Once Upon a Time specifically is they put in two very interesting characters, actually interesting relationship between two characters, and they built on it, and they gave you a season of them together and interacting and building up this kind of surprise that they build up every single time where, oh, actually he's the good guy and he's the bad guy. And they had that surprise happen. Oh, actually he's good and he's bad, and then they killed him.
It's so formulaic. It's so formulaic at the end.
Yeah.
And then there was a song and dance about hope and love.
Oh, don't even get me started. Well, it got to the point where every time they said this is a show about hope, everyone would just start giving them middle fingers. It's like, if this is hope, I don't want it.
It was just, what did they want to do? There was this weird clash of what we want to do. We love these fairy tales. We want to take these fairy tales, we want to put them in a town, and we want to have fairy tale town. And what do we want to do? What do we want to do with these characters? How do we want to develop them? What do we want at the end of this show from all of this? And they couldn't agree. They couldn't agree what they wanted. And they kept changing their relationships, and the development kept like dropping and then going up and then dropping and then going up.
1 step forward, 10 steps back. Well, I'll tell you what changed season 3. What the original plan was to have Balefire with Emma and all that. But what happened was Hook happened, and he was so popular. So they switched it around to make it so that Hook was not just only a major relationship for Emma, but also you couldn't really have Balefire around with that, because as long as Balefire was around, you always kind of wanted to have the happy ending with Henry, with his dad and her. I always say, how do we know that they didn't originally want Hook to be the good guy with Emma? Is because he in season 2 did some very unforgivable things. I remember the scene when he punched Belle into unconsciousness. They wouldn't have done that if they'd have known that he was gonna become the good guy, and he did torture. He tortured a lot of people, and he was a great villain. And Colin O'Donoghue always said that he missed that, because once they started making him a good guy, he said there was nothing for him to really do as an actor. He said he really enjoyed playing Dark Hook. So, and they all agreed that when they killed off Balefire, it was actually a very big mistake for the show, because that's when it lost its moorings, because they had this whole arc of these families and these families coming together. And by killing Balefire, it just pulled the rug underneath everything.
And I don't feel like Henry ever really grew as a character. No. I feel like he stayed exactly the same.
Yeah, and they abandoned him. We would go, starting season 4, suddenly it was like, where's Henry? Not only would they not develop him, they didn't give him anything to do.
He was a very important character to the show.
Yeah, he
they
was
didn't
everything
do much
to the
for
show.
him in the very last season either.
No. Yeah, oh, you mean the season 7?
Yeah, the season that is basically Voldemort.
Not talk. Yeah, no.
Season that shall not be. I will though say, not only
the same. They're not the same character in my mind. They're not the same dude. That was a completely different guy. That wasn't Henry.
Oh, Kitty.
Hi.
It was a lot of gymnastics. They shouldn't have done a season 7. They should have just let it be. But they couldn't let it die.
I couldn't watch it. I watched maybe 3 episodes, and I was like, "There's just."
They were trying to turn him into Charming.
Yeah,
they were trying to make him into Charming and Snow. Him and the new Cinderella, and it's like, no. And they even had like a new Henry and that little girl Lucy.
I didn't see any magic there. I saw a bitter woman and a man who was disconnected.
Yeah. I actually wanted new Henry to get together with Ivy. That actually was kind of an interesting thing.
What do you want?
You know, Henry hooking up with someone that was kind of evil. And they almost went there. There was a sort of went there. I think that they accidentally had chemistry. But and everyone was like, dude, that would work. Those be, but I watched the last episode of that season, and I watched
Look at the kitty.
What are you doing?
Yeah, but the rest I couldn't watch. It was too painful.
Like
I couldn't watch it.
Around me.
I watched the very ending of that season. That was the only thing I watched that I felt was worth watching at some point. I don't get how Regina became the good queen.
She became a Mary Sue by the end. Everyone were just praising her, and it's like, dude,
do you not remember all the bad things she did do?
It was okay that they had a redemption arc for her.
Yes, I did like
that. Going over the top and making her so miraculous. And look, you're in this horrible hex where if you do anything, it's going to kill him. But Mary Sue Fineway. They went so over the top with her, it became ridiculous.
Yeah. I actually did a calculation, and by the end of the show, the only person that shouldn't have been serving consecutive life sentences was Henry. The amount of murders, even Snow did a murder. The amount of murders,
her heart got darkened.
Yeah, when she murdered Cora in cold blood, and
and that was.
Yeah, it was completely cold blood. That was actually a magnificent arc of hers in season 2. And then she and Charming kidnapped Maleficent, so they should be in jail for kidnapping. Of course, Rumpelstiltskin committed murder left and right.
Murder left and right, kidnapping left and right, and false imprisonment.
Yeah.
Mutilation.
Hook was a serial killer, and his rings were trophies from them. I swear they all stealing, theft. They should all just have gone to prison at the end, like in Seinfeld.
It's funny. I've had just a vague remembrance of that show being on the air. I never watched it, and listening to you talk, I never ever dreamed it was so dark.
It was.
It was
Oh,
actually
it was absolutely
dark.
dark, but it was also happy.
Yeah,
It was an uneven.
Some really good drugs.
Sounds real happy.
cocaine's a hell of a drug, right?
It was weird. It was weird. The tone never stayed the same. It always jumped around episode to episode. The characters were everything jumped around. It was very much as if different people kept taking control back and forth. This weird tug of war of what we want, all of this. And at the end, it felt like they just wanted it over.
One of the more emotional moments to me was still having Rumple have to kill his own father.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Well, the whole thing about his father being Peter Pan, that kicked ass.
Yeah, that one actually, Peter was never a good guy in the books. He just wasn't the main villain.
It was just in Disney.
Yeah, because he was evil. He was mischievous. He cut somebody's hand off for play. Remember?
Mm-hmm.
He was a sociopath.
And that kid, the actor who played Peter Pan, was amazing. Robbie Kay. Friggin' amazing.
But if you paid attention, even in the Disney one, they had hints of they would screw with things that were flying by for fun. They try to kill things for entertainment and stuff like that. They still hinted at, even
Little
in the
serial
Disney.
killers.
The Lost
Little
Boys were
demon
not
boys.
innocent kids. They were not innocent kids.
No.
And see, so I didn't mind that they made him such a villain.
Oh no, it was great.
Yeah.
And
I actually really enjoyed that arc, even though a lot of people said it was too slow.
Oh no, I loved it. I
loved that arc though, and I loved that little bit of good in Rumple that was fighting with his bad side. Couldn't let him hurt the people he cared about.
I've always hated in shows when they did that sort of, are they going to get together or are they not going to get together thing. And they did that with Hook. And that annoyed me to no end.
Oh, yeah. Either let them fuck or just stop already.
Yeah.
Let's be honest.
It turned into too much soap opera by after a while. Are you talking about Emma and Hook? Yeah, I liked Emma and Hook to begin with, Captain Swan, but by the end, well, just about they killed my will to watch.
With Outlaw Queen.
Well, it was Outlaw Queen. Well, gosh, well, the second, and we knew it. The second that Marion, quote unquote, came back, and then they totally retconned that it was really Zelina. That was the end of that. And they ruined Belle. Belle was really cool the way they had her, and then I don't know. It was like every time they had a good story, like Miss was,
they had to find it.
They had to kill it. Or yeah, they had to kill it. It's like, oops, we did something really awesome. Got to put a stop to that. Yeah, I love that. Well, and the dude who played Hyde, the voice
Sam
of
Witwer.
Darth Maul. Yeah. I mean, he was great. I was like,
Oh, yeah.
What a waste.
I hated what they did with Jekyll and Hyde so much. It freaking made me want to rip. It's like, no, this is a simple story that did not need to have your little freaking I'm going to try to shock you moment. It's really simple. It's one person and one side of it's evil because of the freaking medicine he created for himself. It's not hard. Just leave it the fuck alone and do it.
Though I kind of liked the twist.
Yeah, they shouldn't have killed them.
No, that was the worst thing they did.
They were definitely interesting.
Yes.
And
And
they locked Jekyll away.
Right. Back in that prison that Regina had in season 1.
Yeah.
oh yeah.
Are people
So
still
many other
down there?
people down there too, and they never discussed it.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think they're down there anymore since everyone else left the town. I'm pretty sure they all just died down there.
Down there, they're dead.
They're dead.
Oh, yeah, all the ones that they
Their
left.
bones.
Yeah, the King George that they left in the mine. Or are you talking about from the Enchanted Forest?
In the
Prison she
asylum.
had in Storybrooke.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
that
back in season 1 where Belle was at one point till
Oh,
Jefferson let her out.
Oh yeah, because
They had all kinds of people in that thing. They never let them out before they left the town. They're all dead.
Well, you're right. Sydney was down there. Oh wait, but he did escape. But then we
He
never
did
saw him again because he went off to Breaking Bad. You're right.
In the Mandalorian.
In the Mandalorian, exactly. Oh man.
Oh, somebody
right,
needs to
and
go down
there
there and
was a
find all
real
the
deal
bones.
too. And King George was for a while in the mine. They locked him up in the mine, but that was in a deleted scene. And I was like, I was always wanting there to be like a French Revolution moment where they were like, where the people of the town rose up against them. It's like you keep messing up this whole. They're messing up everything. Anymore. Screw you, Snow, and y'all caused this dark curse to happen and ruined everybody's lives. And every time things get back to normal, you screw up something else.
I have to get going, guys.
All right, well, it was a
Alrighty.
joy to talk to you. And boy, did we take
Nice to
over
meet
his
ya.
poor stream, didn't we?
Yeah, thank you for inviting me on.
Well, that's why I call it random chaos.
Yeah, because you brought on the women. We make it random and evil.
Bye, guys.
Okay, bye, Miss.
darling.
Bye bye, Miss.
So I do have an interesting proposition I've been given with the drawings, by the way.
Mhm.
Because when I finished Darth's, I started on one of Ruthie.
Mhm.
According to Darth, after Ruthie, I'm supposed to do Mary and Anna.
Okay.
I've been told I'm supposed to do this while she was on air.
Yeah.
I told Mary you were nominated by Darth to be the next one, and she went, "Okay, that'd be cool." It's like I don't know what I'm going to say to Anna. She's so good with her art. I don't want her to criticize mine.
Oh, I know that feeling. I used to
Literally,
draw a
I
long
would not
time
know
ago.
any of you if it wasn't for her art stuff. Because I found this entire community because I was researching paint techniques for my canvas work and stumbled upon her doing Yoda.
Well, there you are.
So if it wasn't for my adoration for Anna's art, I wouldn't be here. So she's like telling me I need to do a picture of her, and I'm like, but I don't want to. I don't want to get criticized. I know she's honest on her opinion.
Right. I understand that feeling.
I respect that girl too damn much. And it's like, and I got so depressed over Christmas because a lot of crap happened to me, but it's also because my dark day is the 31st of December. And that goes back to a lot of stuff I've been through.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a severe post-traumatic breakdown anxiety attack that day because we had to travel on it.
Mm-hmm. Uh-oh.
She froze.
She froze.
Pixelated or sure they are. Now, Phelan, I've seen you. I've been following you forever, haven't I?
Maybe.
Maybe you don't know. Phelan reacts.
Okay, one sec. I'm back.
Oh, okay.
But-
yeah, I'm subscribed to you. Yeah.
And
Okay.
I thought I had pulled all those posts back down as soon as I came out of the anxiety attack. And I found out that one of the tweets I missed. And I found that out because when I found it because I was getting notifications because I was getting comments of support to help me through it from Doomcock and Anna.
Oh, wow.
So I went in when she started streaming the day on the 1st after and sent her a couple supers to thank her for it and just being sincerely sweet to her. And she invited me on.
Oh, wow.
I spent 3 hours on air with her and Ethan Shiver and Drunk 3PO and Tom Connors BSing about mocking Raylos.
Oh, my God.
It was freaking amazing.
That's great.
It
I
just shows how
remember that.
sweet and how sweet she is and how much she'd reach out to somebody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Doomcock is loud and angry as he sounds when he does his videos. He's really such a great guy.
He was one of the first large accounts to actually follow me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really?
And he's actually retweeted, commented to. He's made several comments of sending support. Hope you're feeling well and stuff when I had my depressed time.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
he's not. So he said, and one of the people on recent comments said, the Overlord with the heart of gold. He said, that's a rumor. I'm sitting there going, no, it's not. I've seen it.
Yeah, I'd say that's very accurate.
That was on Twitter. And his response is, that's a rumor. It's like, no, it's not. I've seen it. And he's like, shh.
The thing about him,
like, hush.
it's, a lot of people get on here and they focus so much that they want to be successful and they want to do the whole YouTube thing.
Mhm.
And of course he does that, but he also genuinely likes people. And he's the kind of person that he's approachable, and he'll respond to you.
Well, again, that's what, he may not always respond, but Jeremy has a lot more heart than people give him credit for.
Yeah.
And
Jeremy Griggs?
Yeah. And he was,
dude.
He freaking surprised the hell out of me on that. I beginning of December, I had about 200 subscribers. I was sitting there doing an afternoon BSing stream with freaking Orange Hat, Hunky Chunky, and a Nihilist. So let's see, 4 nobody accounts hanging out talking. And I've been really depressed, and I've been having guys walk me through stuff. I've been on bed rest, all this, and I was stressed a lot at that point. And Hunky was teasing me that maybe I'll just see if Jeremy will come on and help you feel better. It's like, no. He said, maybe I'll send him a link. I didn't think he actually was going to. Apparently, he not only sent him the link, he went to his different posts and was telling him he should come in and help me through this. I didn't know this until we're sitting and sending barbs back and forth, and all of a sudden I look backstage and see Jeremy sitting there grinning. I pull him out, and the first thing he's like is, blame the monkey. He made me do it. It's like...
That's awesome, though.
Yeah. Well, the ones that genuinely have heart, at the end of the day, are the ones who are the most successful in the long run. Because you can be a jerk in the short run and maybe even rise pretty fast.
Mhm.
But if you're not good to people, if you're not good to your subscribers, to your fan base, people will walk away. It'll be built on sand. And
yeah, I think you're exactly right.
Why, thank you. I'm glad you agree with me.
Yeah,
right. Thank you.
I really think so. Yeah.
I mean, isn't it true? You look at Doomcock. That man has got a heart of gold.
Mm-hmm.
Jeremy, I can't say good enough things about Jeremy. He plays an a-hole online, but it's a role he plays, and he's even said that.
True.
You catch him when the way he really is.
Well, see, and that's the problem with me is I actually really am as loudmouth as I act here. Other than the fact that I have social anxiety, so I freak out in crowds and get really quiet. But once I'm going or once something sets me off, yeah, I'm as big of a fucking loudmouth as I am here. I really, because of the damage, I really don't have a way to censor or change myself. That's why I love that so many people keep accusing me of faking all these issues I was going through. It's like, I'm not a good actress. I can't pretend to be things I'm not because of the issues I have. What you see is what you get.
Yeah, just be yourself and don't worry about what everybody thinks.
But so, because I was giving Jeremy crap about that because on one of the streams where he was arguing with somebody, he said that we all play our different roles online that we aren't really in real life. And I'm like, not all of us. I'm really just the person I'm pretending to be here. That's it. That's me.
Well, and though I think all of us with our shows, we all have in our channels, we all have different missions. With Jeremy, he's running an empire by now, but it's like entertainment. My channel, it's just whatever the heck I feel like. I don't have any big grand plans. It's something that I just kind of enjoy doing, and if people enjoy listening to me, that's fine. No, that's more than fine, actually. I'm very, very pleased. Don't get me wrong, but I'm not trying to build a big, huge business out of it necessarily. I mean, gosh, how many channels do they have now? And Geeks and Gamers, it's a brand.
Yeah.
And see, for me, I don't necessarily care if I end up getting tons and tons of channels or stuff like that. But, and this is where I have to go on this. I really do want to get monetized just so I can get some donations to help pay for all the freaking artwork and travel I have to always do.
Oh,
'Cause
I
it's
understand that.
expensive as shit. People have no idea, A, how much nature photography actually costs to do. How much travel, how much hiking, how much gas, how much production, how much printing, all that is really behind every freaking piece. And with my drawings and my paintings, it's not much better. Canvas, high-end pencils, stuff like that. Expensive as fuck.
So then, Rosetta, you
Right.
actually are working towards monetization?
Trying.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
I've got about 600 some subs now.
Yeah.
I think we're all,
Well, you're
all
halfway there then.
all our goals at the end of the day, I think, are to get to that magic 1,000 and the things, and
And
start building-
4,000 watch hours.
4,000 watch hours.
I'm trying to find something out. If you've because I know if your streams are unlisted or privatized, they don't count to the hours.
Right.
But what if you relist them just before you apply?
I have no idea.
Well, people actually have to watch them.
Well, what if you've already got a lot of watch hours on them? You just privatized them because certain people were harassing them.
That's a good question. I don't know.
Because I privatized the one with Jeremy on it because of my brother hate watching the fandom.
Yeah.
I've got a lot of hours and views on that freaking stream. It's got over 400 hours on it.
Oh, wow.
It was a 16-hour stream, and he was on it for a while, and so were a bunch of other people from fandom through the day.
Well, try making it public and see what happens after you go ahead and apply.
Because that would definitely help. Where do my hours disappear? I've had repeatedly where videos were never taken down. I never had any notices on anything, but suddenly a whole bunch of hours dropped off of my total view time.
A lot of people have been having that issue.
Yeah.
I know Christy mentioned
I
about
had
her hours
Over
disappearing.
2,000 when I checked, went to bed, woke up, it said 1,200 a while
Oh.
back. I was freaking livid and pissed as hell.
Fallon,
I don't
how have you
blame
been doing on your hours?
On mine,
I don't actually know where mine's at now, so I'm going to check now. Because now
I
I'm
don't
getting
know where
curious.
mine are. Because I've been so sick lately, because I've got a low immune system. I haven't really
Yeah.
done much, so my views have actually been dropping.
Okay, because I know you're working towards getting monetized also.
Yeah, I'm only at 146 subscribers.
I'm
it
more
hasn't
like
moved.
Teresa. I do this when I feel like doing it.
Okay, well,
Um,
that's not too bad. Right now it says I'm at 2,000.
Well, you should be ready then.
Yeah, so that means
Halfway.
I'm about halfway on both.
Well, if
So it
you got
looks like
you
they're
need 1,000,
traveling
then you
together.
got 2,000.
no watch hours.
You need 1,000 watch hours, right?
4,000.
4,000.
Oh, they
1,000
upped
subs,
it.
4,000 watch hours. That's what it's been the whole time I've been here. That's why I don't
Yeah.
know.
Oh,
And
okay.
until YouTube moves the goalpost, of course.
Again.
yeah.
So
I'm
I'm actually about halfway on both. That's actually good.
yeah.
So
I'm
gonna
still not
look
quite
to see if I can
over when
find
they
out where I'm
Yeah.
at.
when they randomly decided if you can't live stream on your mobile if you don't have 1,000 subs. I was so PO'd. It's like, okay, what other new rule are you going to come up with?
yeah.
And that's another reason why I think that I'm not hanging. Trust me, I want to get to 1,000 subs, but not hanging my hat too hard on it. Because so help me, I can just see. I get 1,000 subs, I get 4,000 watch hours, and they change everything. Oh,
I only
after
have
all.
232 hours.
Well, I stopped even watching because I'm retired. I don't really need this for my income.
Mhm.
I used to think it'd be nice to have a little pocket money, but I gave up on that a long time ago. I just whenever I feel like it, I do one of these kind of things, and I enjoy doing that. If people invite me onto their streams, I like doing that also. And so that's enough for me, and I'm happy doing those things.
Yeah. Actually, now that you mentioned Nellis, I'll check our watch hours. I don't know if I've even checked.
So I could probably boost my watch hours to almost the 4,000 if I unprivatized all my streams.
hmm
So I don't think I'm in too bad of a place on that one then.
Right.
Where the heck do you even find your watch hours?
There's a
Go
dollar
to
sign.
the YouTube Creator Studio, scroll on that little section underneath until you see monetization and click on it.
Mhm.
That little section underneath the what now?
In the options on your avatar, there's the YouTube Creator Studio. Go into it.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, okay.
It has the little sidebar with all the different tabs of things to do.
Yeah.
You
Oh, there.
scroll down on that monetization. Yep.
I got it. Okay. You'll be eligible, blah, 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 to get into this your channel. Wait, 4,000 watch hours. Okay, they haven't changed it in the last 12 months and 1,000 subscribers.
Mm-hmm.
So, I've got 349 watch hours. Woohoo!
Woot.
Maybe we should have some marathons on your channel.
There you go.
See, part of why I have those hours is because I did Monday marathons for a long time until I got too busy lately, where I literally marathoned between 8 to 16 hours every Monday, where I would paint and draw and create stuff.
Yeah. Well, part of my issue is I actually have a real job. So it keeps interfering with my social media hobby.
Well, technically, my artwork is my job, but it's also I actually do work on the board of a church and in several charities and stuff too.
Yeah.
I just don't sleep.
Gosh, that's my dream. It's my dream to be a hermit. It'd be nice to have a situation where I don't have to be somewhere. Yeah, that's the thing.
Well, it's not nice to me because wasn't my choice. The work I do now is the only things I can find that I can do that I love, because I'm not allowed to work normal jobs because of all my medical issues.
Oh.
So,
Yeah.
I don't
that,
like
that was me too. I wasn't planning on retiring this early, but it worked out that way medically, and it worked out.
I was 23 when they banned me from working.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
that's me too.
Well,
And I'm so young now, right?
You're the
I
same
can't say
age I
that.
am.
I can't
Seriously,
say
am
that.
I'm 36. I turned 37 in August.
Yeah, we're only a few months apart then. I don't think you look that old.
A lot of people say, "Oh, you're in your 20s, right?" No.
That's what I keep getting is all these guys that keep saying that. Oh, and I love when I was in my 20s and I was working in the craft store, and these old women would literally look at my face when I came up to ask what they needed. And I want to talk to somebody old enough to know what they're doing.
Oh.
And they'd go storm off to the older employees and they'd start to ask them something and they'd point over at me. And they'd come back with this look of rage.
That's
Okay,
funny.
where is it? And it's like,
yeah.
no, they would literally say that right to your face if you were young working in those shops.
Mm.
Those old women are not that nice. You're really
Well,
not.
Maybe I just grew up in some pretty good places where the Southern hospitality kind of thing.
Oh, I know a lot of people down south that had the same issues when they worked in the craft stores really young. It's specifically the craft circuit. It's these older church women who think kids are all dumb.
Ah. Okay, I can understand that.
They're horrible women, I swear. These are the same women, they come in and they smell like they've been bathing in perfume for 5 years because they have no sense of smell anymore, but they want to smell their perfume, not just have other people smell it, so they keep dumping it on.
Kind of like that really strong smell of hairspray where you're coughing.
And that right there is the reason I don't go to most churches that if they're very big, because you get those old church women together and holy crap, the smell. I can't breathe near them.
I've actually met doctors when I was in the elevator. I used to work in EVS. A doctor would get in the elevator and they've got that really bad, strong smelling perfume. I'm like, I hope you're not seeing patients. I didn't say that, but that's what I was thinking.
I would have flat out said it. You're not supposed to be wearing that to see patients. People have breathing problems. Hello.
Yeah, because we were going up to I think it was 6th floor, which is people having surgeries. or coming out
Holy
of.
crap. And also, they're not supposed to wear any perfumes if they're in the medical field.
Yeah, the
because
last time I
it
was
gets
at
in
the
it gets on
hospital,
your skin too.
they have big signs everywhere. It says
yeah,
that.
because it's also having perfumes on you.
Mhm.
If you're going into a surgical wing, you're not supposed to have anything on your skin that could possibly try to get into patients.
Right.
Yeah.
One sec here.
And some people are very, very sensitive to that.
Yeah, I actually, when I worked in EVS, I always had to check with the patients to make sure they didn't have any sensitivity to smells. To like, it could have been a TBS room or a TB room. A patient suffered from tuberculosis. We had to be very careful about the scents because a lot of the patients couldn't handle it.
Mm-hmm.
And some of
that's
the stuff
thing
we
is,
use is
and I'm
bleach.
one of them. I grew up. I have asthma. I have vocal cord dysfunction. I have multiple chemical sensitivities. I have allergies to other ones. I know. Keep that fucking shit away from me.
Mm-hmm. Though there are certain rooms where we had to use the strong smelling stuff if it's like that it's the only way to clean the room.
Yeah, but there's also cleaners you can use on top of that after to remove the residue and the smell some.
Yeah.
And the problem I've had is some hospitals won't do the second step because that's just extra work. Well, sometimes you need that extra work.
Mm-hmm.
Because having a room that smells strong of bleach is listed specifically as the worst chemical in the world for lungs and allergy sufferers. You can't just leave the smell after you're done.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I understand that. I had to live with that, trying to make sure everything was clean and people weren't getting sick. But you always had to ask the patients. Is it bad that I missed that life? Working I knew my job.
I mean, let's put it this way. I love what I do. I love my artwork. I love all the stuff I do, but I miss being able to work normal jobs. I miss even when they sucked. I miss being able to not have to depend so much on all this medical shit and not have a consistent day.
Right.
It sucks that there are days I can't literally get out of bed because my muscles won't work.
Mm.
It sucks.
Well, I hear you. I understand that. I worked the same hospital for 30 years. Yeah, I'm a little bit older than you ladies. And to be honest with you, I didn't want to stop working. But now that I've been retired for a few years, I don't really miss it. And I really kind of value the opportunity to spend time doing whatever I want to do. The only thing I don't like is that because of the way I retired, I kind of I don't have a lot of mobility. I had a stroke and I lost some physical function. I couldn't even talk. And so I stopped doing videos. I used to do barbecue videos and cooking stuff, but I was not even able to speak properly. And you might still hear when I speak, sometimes I'll mumble or pronounce things kind of crazy. I still, battle that every now and again, but it's not, like it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can find the streams out there. I'm sure some of them still exist where I'm literally stuttering and spazzing on air.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, I have a little, still, I don't have my fine motor skills are not very good still. Still working on that.
That is part of it, is because I actually do have shakes, always a little bit, from the seizure damage. And the things they told me I could never do, because I'd never be able to do anything that took a lot of balance or holding things steady or stuff like that. So what do? I take photography. I paint. I draw.
I have balance
because
issues also.
Fuck what they tell me I'm not going to be able to do.
Yeah.
Right.
If you tell me I can't, I'm going to find a way to do it.
Mm-hmm.
My problem is,
and in fact,
if I'm stuck somewhere in the dark, as soon as I can't see, I start falling forward.
Give me a few minutes to move to the computer, and I'll actually show you what I mean about the photography.
Sure.
Be right back.
All right.
Okay. Well, gentlemen and ladies, or gentlemen and ladies, I'm going to have to go ahead and duck out. But thank you, Tito, for having me. And girls, we got to talk more about Once Upon a Time sometime. I've been doing some rewatches
Absolutely.
on them and all that.
Well, thank you
Good.
for being with us today, Teresa. Thank you very much.
Well, thanks for having me, and it's very nice speaking with Phelan, and I will see you all in cyberspace.
All righty.
Alrighty then.
Bye.
Bye.
So anyway, yeah, I have balance issues, and I have fine motor skills is not very good. Working on those two things, but I'm able to talk fairly, without too much trouble these days.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, that's why I'm
Sorry.
retired.
That's understandable. I just haven't been able to find work. It's kind of difficult in this small town.
Yeah.
That's why I'm usually on all the time.
Well, I noticed that you kind of, for a while there, you kind of pumped up the content you were doing, and then
Yeah, I want to get back into doing my dailies because it actually did help my channel, and I got a bunch of subscribers from it.
mhm.
But when I get sick, I get knocked down hard. And it was a nasty cold. I think I'm still trying to get over it completely.
Well, this is this time of year, and
Oh,
then
yeah,
now it's
flu
you
season.
stay out of public places as much as you can
Mm-hmm.
with that coronavirus going around. It's starting to be showing up over here.
Yeah, and the flu A is going around and hurting a lot of people.
Mhm.
My grandfather's like in ICU with it right now.
I heard a figure this year in the United States, 8,000 people have died of the flu.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that's people don't think of the flu as being a killer, but it really is.
It is. It's like that's why if like say one of me or someone in my house ends up with the flu, you're staying away from everybody else.
Yeah.
Nobody's going near you.
I never used to worry about that, but
Mhm.
over the last few years, I pay a lot more attention to it now.
Mm-hmm. I think they said either if you're really young or you're getting up there in age, it's the most dangerous for. Or at least that's what I'm told.
You say getting on up there in age. I had an experience that I had never happened before. And
Oh.
it just happened last week. My wife and I were out doing some things, and we decided it was kind of getting late in the afternoon. We'd stop off at one of those. It's not Taco Bell. It's a local one. Taco Time is the name of it, but it's a local place. It's they actually have some national, but it's a local chain headquartered here in Washington. So we went through the drive-through, and when I got to the window, you got the speaker, and then you go around the corner, and then you stop at the window. She come to the window and she looked at me. She says, "Oh, you get the discount." So I got a senior discount. I never ever have gotten that before, and I never thought about
Oh
that
my
I was
gosh.
qualified for it. But yeah, she just looked. She's, "Oh, you get a senior discount." It's like, well, gee, thanks. I don't know whether to cry or shout for joy.
You sound like my dad whenever he got the first time they said, because my dad's about 57, and he got that, he was kind of offended the first time.
Yeah, your dad is pretty close to my age, and yeah, I was very surprised. I hadn't thought about that. Never had it happen before. Never asked for a senior discount, and she just said, "Oh, you get it." It's like, oh, well, okay. I'm gonna save money. Good.
Rosetta is going Earth to Tito.
Oh, that's right. She wants to come back in. There she is. Welcome back.
I switched the
Ta-da.
box to the other one.
Yeah. Did I get you in here? There you
I'm
are.
here. Switch the box to the sideways one because it doesn't fit.
Oh,
Yeah, that's why I keep trying to move, trying to get in the
It
thing.
really
well,
don't fit.
let me go back to.
It's right underneath here. It's in the little boxes there. There you
There
go.
we go.
No, I didn't say make yourself big, you egomaniac.
What does that say? No stupid people next to group.
Warning, no stupid people beyond this point.
I love that. All I've got is Star Wars over here.
Oh, and by the way,
Oh, that is pretty.
mine.
It's beautiful.
Let's see. How do I make yours bigger? Or if I
No,
can I
mine's
even do
bigger,
that?
but you don't want me to show that off here. Just saying.
Because if I do like this, that doesn't work, does it?
Here's a screen share for you. This is what I mean by some of the photography I do. This is 2 weeks ago in Kansas City right before the rear ending, hit and run. This is at the zoo in Kansas City. You have to accept it. It won't go up without you.
It's true.
Okay, so how do I do that?
You go to the little box underneath there and you click add to screen.
Mm-hmm.
There we go.
Shrink yourself. Go back to the regular. Now add it. Oh,
It's not in there now?
no. 1 sec here. Add it again. It glitched out.
How about now?
Yeah, I see it. See? That
Woohoo!
was taken in Kansas City Zoo 2 weeks ago. Actually, 2 weeks
Oh,
ago today.
wow. That looks like a professional photo.
Well, they are for me. And then there's
that's
lots of
really good.
photography here. Just a little bit. I don't do that much, right? That was there too.
Do you ever sell your photos?
Yes, I do sell signed prints of them, but eagles. Eagles.
Oh, man, that is beautiful.
Let's see. There. Eagles.
Those are so pretty.
No,
And
is that in the zoo or is that around
No.
your home?
I live where the Cedar River and Mississippi are really close, and about a third of the world's bald eagle population winters here along the rivers.
Ah, okay.
So I do a lot of eagle photography.
Yeah, we have a lot of eagles here. If you go fishing, you almost always see eagles. They'll swoop down and grab the fish off the top of the water.
That.
That's beautiful.
I spend a lot of time out following eagles. There's a deep connection to me in them.
Uh-huh.
Do you guys want to see a really gorgeous eagle that actually is technically in captivity because she was rescued injured as a baby?
Sure.
She's one of the oldest eagles in the world. She just turned 35.
Wow.
And
Oh, whoa.
that's Spirit. That's my girl. I go visit her a lot. Isn't she beautiful?
Oh, she's gorgeous.
It's a beautiful picture.
And then there's here from the other direction where you can see some of the detail of the face better. That's my girl.
How long do eagles normally live?
About 20 years.
Oh, wow.
All right, so that's a little glimpse of what I was talking about. I'm not supposed to be able to hold my hand steady. And actually, I really do struggle with using the zoom. Once I start to zoom, my hands start shaking. And one of my friends just told me he's sending me a lightweight camera for it.
There you go.
But no, I have those issues, but I still do it. Because I'm a stubborn, pig-headed pain in the ass.
Hey, sometimes that's the best thing to be.
You ever thought about using a monopod?
I have different pods and sensors and stuff like that. The problem is that you can't use them always when you're trying to catch something quickly on the go.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
When you're like in the middle of the woods and an animal's going by you, you don't have time to try to set up a tripod or something.
Right.
Or a little mono stick or something. What you have time for is grab, zoom, snap. So some of them are really difficult to get. But yeah, that's some of the stuff I do. But
well, that's cool stuff.
I really couldn't do a lot of work for a long time. All I really had was making jewelry, which I still do some, but I really wanted more to do with my life. I was tired of not having stuff to do, so I started reverting back to painting that I did back in.
Well, you really have a good eye with a camera,
and
so I'm sure that carries over into your artwork.
And when I was in Job Corps, what I was doing was statues and 3D painting and stuff like that. And I still do that. But I wanted to grow beyond just that, so I started working on learning two-dimensional. And it's been kind of snowballing with the photography, everything else. And almost all of this stuff I'm really new to. I did my first official drawing that in the Realm Styles and learning to do what I did for the one for Darth in the autumn of 2017. I've only actually done some of those. Not a lot.
Well, cool.
And so my first actual drawing, let's see if I can figure out where I put it here. I know I have it. Was actually my cat. The one that was getting in the camera and trying to wreck everything while we were talking.
The pretty kitty.
And this was my first full drawing after I learned all the techniques. And it's there whenever you want to put it back up.
Oh, I need to go on the other screen here and add the streamer.
Oh, wow. That's very good. It's better than what I could ever do.
That took 60 some colors for the fur, layered in different effects and blended. Because of all the different colors I had to add because she's a freaking mongrel mix. I had to have her light patch here. I had to have the little white tuff here. I had to have the little weird hook that she has over one eye. I had to try to have all these little features, and it was a pain to do.
I can imagine that's time consuming.
But that was my first full one I did.
Wow.
So. And then the first actual fandom drawing I did is not. No, off. I'll tell you when. When I close it, it's because I'm trying not to dox the stuff behind it as I'm switching.
Oh, okay.
The first fandom drawing I did was this one, though. Last year.
Can I add this one?
Yeah. Sorry.
Okay. Just trying to keep up with you.
Mecca.
Didn't that whip she's holding didn't it break?
There's the red harpy.
She breaks those crops all the time.
She does.
That's why. If I ever finish it and send it to her, that is. That's why I'm working on making her this. Do I
Might
switch
wanna
back
go
to the camera?
Oh.
This is going to have her name down it and Gothic beads coming down it by the time I'm done.
Oh, that's awesome.
I just haven't had a chance to finish it. Every time I try to, some stuff comes up. So yeah, I'm making her a paddle she won't break as easily.
Right.
Cool.
I can think of a lot of people she's gonna be using that for.
And I've tested it. Works really well on stack in the hand.
What's it made of?
This is wood.
Oh, just straight. Nice.
Whereas, where is it here? Oh, freak, where did I put it?
You got to wrap that handle with some jute or some cord or something.
Oh, it's gonna have some wrapping and it's gonna have some beads and other stuff. And freak, I can't
Yeah.
reach it. I know what else I'm trying to show you. It's just way the freak down there. I gotta get it one sec. This is not a short chair. This is actually a director's chair on top of a freaking like bar stool height. So my feet are actually up on a pedestal here. Because what you see behind me that's way below me is actually our freaking dresser.
Don't fall down. You'll hurt yourself.
This, however, is not normal stuff.
Yeah.
This is the actual shoulder blade of a bison.
Oh, let me get over here. Oh my gosh, look at that.
The great thing about these is because of the way the shoulder blades are formed, it actually hooks your hand and holds it in place while you do it. It's like a perfect handle.
Oh my gosh. Where did you get that?
Back at a shop back home in the Black Hills.
Nice.
I have several others I'm working on too. That's the native side of me. I like to use bones in my art.
But that's pretty cool though. It's not something you
think so,
see
too.
every day.
So I do weird stuff. I admit it. I am a strange artist.
But isn't that the curse of being an artist? You have to be a little strange.
A little strange. What would you call it?
Ooh, I like that design. But I play Pathfinder and what's the name of that? It's a Lovecraftian game. Everybody goes insane.
Cthulhu?
Yes, I love that kind of stuff.
My friends called it seaweed on Mars.
Yeah. I see the red, so that'd be Mars.
Then there's the Gothic Christmas tree with a blacked out sky with a dragon eye coming out. Because why not?
It looks like a portal opening to an underworld.
Or just strange skies.
I just love that.
My artwork is very weird, obscure, and a lot of dragon eyes. A lot of dragon eyes.
That's
I
cool.
like
though.
dragons.
I think people are fascinated with dragons.
I've always been a lot of dragon eyes.
Kind of reminds me of the emblem for one guy. It's a red something.
Red gaze?
Yes. That's what it reminds me of. Oh, that is cool looking.
I'm a little eye obsessed. Just a little.
Eyes are easiest.
But, not really, but.
They're
Eagle
easier
tattoo
than hands.
and dragon statue.
Oh, I love that.
You see all the colors sparkling down the wing?
Mm-hmm.
When I found this thing, I found it at a garage sale. It had several breaks through the wings, and somebody had painted it hot pink
Why?
because they were an idiot.
I may like pink. I will fully admit that. I love pink
I
everything,
don't.
but you don't do that to that. That
And I saw the dragon and I went, no, no. And they let me have
protect
it.
it.
They let me have it for almost nothing. So then I completely repainted and rebuilt it
Cool.
Good.
because it couldn't
So
stay like it was.
It got a good home then.
Hmm. I like to find broken things and rebuild them. I think there's something cathartic and spiritual about it.
Well, ladies, I'm a little bit over 2 hours, and I'm just about out of time.
Ah, and she poofed.
Oh my goodness, she's gone. Oh no, we're all here still.
Hmm.
That's funny. I still see her in the room, but oh, I see.
I accidentally X'd off.
Okay. Anyway, I was just saying I'm just about out of time. I got to do some things before people come home from work, and I just want to thank you both for being here. I've had a great time.
Same.
I hope we get to do this again in the pretty near future.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Just hit me up with links. You don't know when or if I'll be able to come in because boy, is my life crazy right now.
Yeah. Well, that's pretty much how I do. That's what that group is for. Whenever I think about doing that, I throw a link in there, and then whoever wants to come in can come in.
I may have to start utilizing it on Sundays at noon. If
That
anyone's
sounds
around.
cool. Yeah.
There are so many people who have told me if you want to stream, you want me to come on, send me a link. But if there's no response after a few times, I start getting bashful about doing it.
Right.
Oh.
I absolutely feel that.
So if either of you want to throw a link in that group, that's fine too.
Alrighty.
All right. Okay, well, I'm going to head out, guys. And if you want to, before I leave, you want to go ahead and plug your channels or your Twitter pages or whatever.
Well, sure, why not? See, what you see is what you get. If you find Rosetta Allen on either, and you can look for anything there, you have my crazy face and red hair, you'll find it. It's mostly me and my artwork and whatever weirdos come in and whatever weird chat they want to have. And it is not for kids. I do not censor things on my channel at all. I put adult locks on everything for a reason. I have a mouth like a sailor and a temper like hell. And a lot of my friends that come in are interesting. I've got friends like, ex-Scottish military and stuff like that come in.
Nice.
So just be warned, if you come to my channel, it's going to be crass.
All right. So I run Fallon Reacts, which is pop culture, reviews, reactions, and I do have a little bit dash of helping people grow their channels, especially with a project I am working on right now to create a database for everyone to be able to find fellow live streamers and it not cost them a penny. Which you could find more information on my Twitter, which is twitter.com/Fallon Reacts.
All righty.
No spaces, no dashes.
And same here for me. You can find me at Twitter at Tito's World, and my YouTube link is there also. So go there and you can find me and anywhere I might be. All right, ladies, thank you very much. We'll hopefully see you again soon. Take care. Have a great Sunday afternoon.
You too.
Be best. I bet you will stay.